Good morning and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. This past week was Summer Music Camp week here at Redeemer. While many churches offer a vacation Bible school during the summer, Redeemer has come to offer music camp instead. For this week, something around 50 or so kids ages 4 through 5th grade come and spend all morning moving from station to station in a variety of activities. They spend time singing, ringing handbells, painting, and other artwork and more. My favorite is the drum and rhythm section. It's fun to see 15 kids sitting around with their orange Home Depot bucket drums learning to bang out rhythms. Cacophony is a good word to describe it, all made up for with the smiles on their faces. As I walked the halls of the church listening to all this, I thought about music in the Bible and wondered if that might be a good topic for one of our weeks together. Then I wondered if there would be enough material for me to work with for a whole week. Well, as I started to look into it, I found more information than I could ever imagine was there. So get out your Home Depot bucket drum and come along as we talk about the history, heritage, and instruments of music through the Bible. There's a lot I could say about musical traditions in Egypt and Mesopotamia, two of the earliest civilizations in ancient times. Both of those civilizations were related to ancient Israel and had some influence, to be sure. But scholars agree that Israel brought music to a new level, particularly in worship. Where the other civilizations used music in daily life and celebrations, Israel did that too, but also brought the use of music into worship, giving music a liturgical presence for the first time. Music was used extensively in the temple during worship, with a variety of instruments being used. Again, they had music in life and for enjoyment, but added music in praise and worship of God. Probably the first instrument was called a shofar, and it's a horn from a ram or a goat. When I went to Israel about 25 years ago, I bought many gifts home for other people, but what I got for myself was a shofar. My shofar is a curved ram's horn with the marrow removed so it is hollow. You blow through buzzed lips on the small end, and the sound comes out on the larger end, much like our trumpets and other brass instruments today. Originally, the horn may have been used to call herds and flocks, or even workers to come in from the fields. Certainly, it was used during battle to signal the troops. But the reason I got it was that it was used throughout the Bible also to call people to worship. Maybe more importantly, the ram's horn was to be blown to announce the year of Jubilee, the year of good news to the poor when debts were canceled and everyone got a fair and equal start again. At least that was the hope. In fact, scholars can't prove that the year of Jubilee was ever celebrated, even though it is mandated in the Bible. So over the years, this special year of good news for the poor and outcast became connected with the arrival of the Messiah. The expectation was that when the Messiah came, his arrival would be announced with the blowing of the shofar, proclaiming the good news, proclaiming the year of God's favor. Another famous example of using a horn of this type is during the Battle of Jericho. You will remember how the Hebrews marched around the city once a day for 6 days, and then on the 7th day they marched around it 7 times, and then blew their horns, and the walls of the city came tumbling down. Our next instrument is what we would call a tambourine today, but in Bible times they called it a timbrel. While today our tambourines tend to have small cymbals attached, in those days it was most likely simply a hand drum, and it allowed for playing it, singing, and dancing all at the same time. Perhaps because of this, it was considered an instrument mostly for women. There are many instances of tambourines or timbrels being used throughout the Bible, but one of the chief ones was an event we talked about just a week or so ago. After Moses led the people through the Red Sea and they were safe on the other side while the Egyptian army that pursued them drowned, Moses sang a song praising God for their salvation. But there is a very small reference that his sister Miriam also grabbed a tambourine and sang a separate song of salvation as she danced. This week at music camp, as I walked around amidst the sounds of children and bucket drums and bells and singing, I am struck most of all not by what I heard, but by what I saw. Everywhere I looked, I saw smiles. All these kids found music touching their hearts and bringing out joy. Joy probably like Miriam felt as she sang and danced with her tambourine. It's a joy that is a gift from God. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.